The last thing when it comes to plotting is annotations. So adding that title, those labels, all of that fun stuff that makes our plots look professional. So there's lots of things we can add, and there's a different function corresponding to each of them. So if we want to add a title, we just type title, and then in single quotes, the text. We can add an X label, a Y label. We can add a grid. We don't have control necessarily over the spacing, at least easy control over the spacing. But we can just type grid on. If we want to take it off, we can type grid off. We can add text to our plots in specific locations if you want to. It's an option. X and Y are the axes coordinates. Once again, trial and error. I don't see this as a something to do often, but it is potential if we want to add some sort of label to something. We can also add a legend. So legends, we type legend, and then what our first set of data is going to identify it as. Our second set of data goes in our second string, and then we keep going. So it depends on the order in which you plot your data. So MATLAB keeps track of behind the scenes that your first set of data that was plotted, that's what it's labeled as. Your second set of data that was plotted, that's what it's labeled as etc. We can also identify where we want it located. So we would type location in single quotes, and then there's lots of different location options. So we can say north, south, east, west, northeast, northwest. There's lots of options. If you type help legend, it will give you all of those options. And the last thing we can do is we can modify the axes range. So we can use the axis function to identify what we want our minimum and maximum X values to be, and then minimum and maximum Y values to be. So maybe we want to zoom in on some data. Note these are in an array. So we can start to make our plots look more professional, where we have all of these components, and you can see here's an example of a plot where there's theoretical data plotted with experimental data.